A magnificent year, won the best and fairest last year. Also had 12 Brownlow votes. There's Mitch Clark. He'll be keen to pick up where he left off last year before he got injured.
Big full forward line for Melbourne as well. Clark, Pedersen and Seller. We're about to get round one underway for these two teams. Early ruck knock to Redden. Hartley, almost the clearance. Breaks free, arms free. Ebert. Heads wide, Need had a big nab cut. Lightest player in the AFL at just 67 kilograms. Yeah,
from St Pat's, Ballarat too, Dwayne. East Point as well, and the North Rebels.
Short pass to Westhoff inside 50, who was free. I like the way St Pat's, Ballarat, New Ballarat boys claim him early. He actually is from the territory in Alice Springs, but he did board for a couple of years at St Pat's.
He showed some good skill there because he was unsure what to do. He ended up kicking it off one step, but such was the foot skills. He just pinpointed the pass beautifully to the loose player.
He can be hot and he can be cold. Justin Westhoff. And that was a little cold. Unfortunately for Port Adelaide, that would have been a perfect start. But when he's on, and an early mark could actually help turn him on, he's hard to stop.
Well, once you drag the ball in, you're in a lot of trouble if it doesn't come out.
Almost within range. He lines up from outside 50, and it's there. Opening goal for Port Adelaide.
They're just desperate to get their hands on the footy at the moment, the D's. It's 17 possessions to 3 in favour of Port Adelaide, and the two men doing the damage, Brad Ebert and Hamish Hartlett, they're the two that are just cutting them open in the middle of the ground. Here we see Hartlett getting the handball received from Kane Corns, and that's a beautiful finish from just outside 50.
We have a look at Sylvia and a couple of the Melbourne defenders. Just assume he's going to go back and shoot for goal. Hartlett plays on. A Melbourne player had to come at the ball carrier there. Very disappointing effort there, but great start from Port.
And again, Nicholson could have marked that, knocked it to ground, tried to steal it back. Monfries puts his head in. And no, he won it for too high. Very, very lucky Angus Monfries there.
Gee, they're critical free kicks to give away. The one thing Melbourne don't want to do while they can't get hold of the footy, even though Port Adelaide's dominating, they can limit the damage on the scoreboard if they can just play some solid defensive football. But you give away silly free kicks like that, right in front of goal.
Yeah, but they're getting smashed in the contested ball. 14-4. That's not a great start. Port have really come to play at the moment. It's an understatement, I know, but that is a smashing in the contested ball.
One Essendon's goal kicking back in 2010, and that presents no problem whatsoever. Port get the first two.
It's a great start. Great start from Port. You've also got to understand, you don't take pre-season into account, but they beat West Coast Eagles, they've beaten Sydney, and they've had a lot of belief. What a magnificent tackle there
I
from
still
Oliver
reckon he got a handball to it. I think sometimes the umpires think because it's a good tackle and he took them on, I'm going to pay a free kick, but he actually did get the handball to him.
Yeah, after looking at the replay there, he did get a quick hands, and I suppose the umpire was just amazed as we were of the amount that he didn't sell the dummy to him. It's a great tackle.
Again. Schultz can't mark. Monfries front and square. Good spot to be.
Oh, they're running airport.
Over the top. Gently. Boak. Dunn. Both came at it. Wines. Clever. He's got Stewart. Open goal. Easy as you like.
That's a magnificent running goal. You see Mark Neal there just having a look at the board. It's not a lot of coach can do at the moment. They're just getting beaten in all facets of the game. And Dunn had to come up his man there, and his direct opponent was Paul Stewart. So Paul Stewart was aware, but just the thinking of Ollie Wines under pressure, under real heat, making good decisions for a youngster, Jose. That's outstanding play.
I think Lyndon Dunn had to leave his man, and I think he was hoping to take out both of the Port players, but he only took out one, and unfortunately he gets punished.
Well played. Frawley to Viney, the delivery man. And all three deliveries have been spectacularly good.
At the moment, you just want to get the ball in the hands of Jack Viney. And whilst it's a wonderful wrap for Jack Viney, it's an indictment on the rest of the team that the first game is the one that's leading the way. But what a fantastic effort by him.
Foot problems lingered over summer after that foot stress fracture last year for Mitch Clark. Stress fractures and heavy concussion keeping him to just 11 games last year in his first season at the club. Strikes it well. Hallelujah. Melbourne on the board. If a player is over the ball, you must tackle him legally. Head's a little too wide with that kick. Clark might make it okay.
Well, he did see Clark lead and thought, I'll put it into that area, so he got him in the benefit of the doubt. And there's a winner for Melbourne. That's the reason why you need to get the ball in nice and quick and to one-on-ones, because when he jumps early, Mitch Clark, there's not many defenders in the competition can go with that.
Found the ticking of time on in this opening term.
He's going banana, Jace.
Yeah. Off one step and kicked it.
Doesn't get any better than that. 2 in a row to the Demons. Hartlett thought about going long. Hands to Monfries. Just had a shot from here. A better kick. Back to the square. Schultz. Good, strong grab. Amazing courage again. No,
it's a beautiful grab. He had Salah bearing down him from behind as well. I'm just not sure. I'll have a look at the replay. I think Salah was trying to spoil the ball. Hopefully that was the case and not go for the mark, but take nothing away from Jay Schultz.
Well, he had internal bleeding and broken ribs last year.
I was going to say, he has been poleaxed a few times in marking contests, so you've got to take your hat off to the courage of just going back like that, not knowing what traffic was coming.
Makes no mistake, and that was against the run of play.
Yep, it was against, even though Porter, you know, it was a good setup for them as well. Yeah, Salah was trying to spoil the ball, so great contest from both players, and in particular Jay Schultz, who would work young Nicholson on the ball. I think James Frawley was up the ground trying to rebound, so Jay Schultz always had an advantage on Daniel Nicholson, only 183 centimetres. Terrific, courageous mark, Jay Schultz. He's been a terrific player the last 2.5 seasons for Port. He's the go-to player.
Yeah, that transition's come from the back pocket in one corner to the forward pocket in the other, all because Melbourne didn't shut off the easy transition, the easy switch of direction.
Westhoff just pops that to Stewart inside 50.
So now they'll have a shot for goal without having touched the footy. That's just poor by Melbourne from the defensive setup.
Interesting stat, NAB Cup boys, was the uncontested ball from Melbourne. They were the worst in the NAB Cup series, so the defensive side of their game was a bit off NAB Cup.
Yeah, good call.
And you can see Jack Grimes there talking to his Melbourne teammates. How do we allow this guy on his own for 10 or 15 seconds?
For his second. Goal umpire barely moved.
All you can see Mark Neal on the bench there. The Melbourne defenders, you have a look at them together now, they were spectating. Have a look. Have a look at the transference of play here. There's Stewart moving into space and Grimes picked him up, but you've got a couple of Melbourne players guarding nothing.
Well, Gillies was lurking loose, but probably needed to go. But look, for me, it's not the defenders. That's their forward zone. When they had the ball in their forward pocket and they allowed Port Adelaide to switch direction, it opens up the entire ground for them.
16 seconds left. You saw Ken Hinkley in his first game as an AFL coach leaving the box and about to head down. Time enough for a score here to either team. Flick down to Jones, just couldn't get the handball away. Does in hands and knees fashion. McKenzie, Frawley. Westhoff waits for the bounce.
Just gone loose behind the ball, Westhoff, which leaves Gillies loose at the other end.
And on the siren, dump clear. Port Adelaide have opened up with a spectacular opening term set up by 3 goals in a row to start this game, and Ken Hinkley's start as an AFL coach couldn't get any better than that. 14 points at quarter time. Long towards full forward instead. You can go for a pass option. Schultz didn't get a jump at it. Stewart, 2 goals in the opening term, almost threw that away. Viney. That kick didn't hit the target. Pittard from 50, lines them up, goes long and strong.
You know, he was a little unlucky, Jack Viney. It was a stoppage where it was hot. He didn't have a chance to do anything except throw it on the boot on his non-preferred foot. And he cleared the 50-metre arc, but unfortunately, Pittard was able to run to 50 and finish truly under no pressure.
That's the beauty of winning a centre clearance, though.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you get the ball inside your forward 50, and you have to do something extremely good to defend to get it out, and that's an area of concern for Mark Neal at the moment, centre clearances.
Clean bowls, everybody. Watts, Frawley, Gillies. Needs to hit the target, doesn't. Schultz gets there and maybe within range.
If you're going to make a mistake, make a long mistake, not a short to a 50-50 in that area of the ground. That really does hurt.
Hamish Hartler. Mentioned early, he's a pick 4 in the same draft as Jack Watts. They invested a lot in him. And when he's good, he's one of the best players in the competition. 9
possessions in the first term.
Just haven't seen enough of him yet. He gets injured so often. That's awesome.
Well, when you talk about his possessions, Jace, you know, you can have, he's going at 100%. So he's had the 10 disposals, you know, 5 handballs, 5 kicks, but he's finishing and he's getting the ball in dangerous areas of the ground. He's already had the 5 inside 50s. He's kicked 2 goals. So out of his 10 possessions, 7 of them have been going into the forward half.
Well, he comes off for a spell now, but I've found it difficult to find anyone that's actually responsible for him. Running around on his own.
Viney.
And there again, we keep seeing it. Melbourne have to just throw it on the boot out of defence, whereas Port Adelaide, when they win it in their defensive 50, they run and carry.
I'm short side, mate.
Ebert.
Short side, mate.
100th game coming up next week. It's been a fantastic pickup for Port Adelaide since crossing from the West Coast. Is he within range? Hits it okay. It's long. And Schultz! Amazing! Schultz on the goal line!
I think it was already a goal, wasn't it? I hope it wasn't, because that could be mark of the year. It is a mark! This is unbelievable. Look at the reaction from his teammates.
What a grab!
Highlight stuff. He stood on the pack and rolled across the top of it.
Oh, that is Sean Smith-like at Melbourne against Brisbane years ago.
It was almost slow motion the way it happened.
Have a look at this. It's come from nowhere.
Uninterrupted run, sits over the top and then rolls over. That's brilliant.
Oh, what a magnificent... Here's another angle. Oh, that's a magnificent grab. Michael Roach-like as well at the G here years ago.
Close to the goal line, wasn't it? Oh, it's a goal. No, it's a goal.
No,
he's going to get robbed of this.
You had to pay it just for the beauty of it.
I think it is a goal.
It's a goal.
Umpire's call is a mark. Yeah.
Well, that angle's inconclusive. That angle is inconclusive because the line of the goals is lined up with the back of the padding. It's not in the middle. That line is deceptive. In the middle, between the posts, that's not where the line is. The AFL should redo that line because it's from the back of the padding to the back of the padding.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's on for another day. Well, let's talk about the absolutely magnificent mark and goal. Like that is what makes our game absolutely great. And you're right, you can see that's not adjacent to the goals. You can see a little bit of ball there. Now,
that looks over to me. But anyway, we're just thrilled that we could see something like that from Jay Schultz. And unfortunately for Melbourne, this second quarter started exactly the same way as the first quarter. They're getting dominated and they're just getting smashed on the scoreboard now.
I think the third umpire's a good sport as well. And look, he made the right decision on what he had to do. But I think you're right, Dwayne. I think that there needs to be a straight line from goalpost to goalpost to see whether there's any ball there.
They're pick 7 in last year's draft for his first goal in AFL football. Misses.
He's well built, isn't he? You look at youngsters coming in and he's got the build now of an AFL football. He's already 89 kilos.
Wingard, speaking of young players, didn't have as big a season last year as many expected. He played 19 games, but he was injured so often. And he also expected to rise to a new level this year. Former South Australian under-18 captain. And that was a nice pick-off. Can he finish it? You bet he can. That's a gem from there.
They're doing everything right, Port. You think Melbourne back-to-back goals, they're back in the game, but they've just got too many winners around the ground. They've never got the kick here from Lyndon Dunn. It's not a good decision either. Like, there's 2 Port players around, so again, Melbourne have made a few mistakes outside of their back half by making short mistakes. You can't defend those. If you're going to make a mistake out of there, make it long and wide. You can at least defend it.
Both teams essentially coming from the same spot on the ladder last year. Of all the games in round one, there's a lot on this one.
Dropped it.
Whole summer on hope.
Yeah.
That should have been a free kick to Melbourne.
Long freeze to Wingard. Keeps it low. Need. Slips the handball out. Stewart kicked 2 goals in the opening term. Good enough to collect and goal from there. 18 minutes gone second term and Mark Neeld has some problems.
Well, that's 3 goals to Paul Stewart, but I reckon it's a fortunate one. You've got to reward good tackles. He picks it up, he's running with it. He just opens the hands. That's making no effort. That, to me, should be a free kick. People might argue he didn't have prior opportunity, but he didn't try to dispose of the ball either. He just saw it was going to get dropped, so he threw the arms out, took no responsibility for it, and all of a sudden, Paul Stewart has the time to fumble, pick it up, wander in and kick his third.
A bit too much to ask Mitch Clark.
Down to Viney for his first goal, and boy does he deserve that.
What a game.
Jones pumps it, the lead from Clark. Can he get there?
Holding. Now that's good. See, the kick from Jones kept it away from Westhoff.
It did.
Westhoff couldn't get there to cut it off, so it becomes a one-on-one. And because Clark was leading his opponent, Trengove, to the ball, he forces the free kick. You can see the right arm being held. He's not allowing him to jump on his merits.
And we know Clark will get the trip.
Just don't know quite where it's going to go at times, but good opportunity for quick back-to-back goals here, Melbourne.
This is for number 3. Kicked 2 goals in the opening term.
On the mark there, Jackson.
In the shadows of half-time, Melbourne won't take the lead in at half-time, but they can take some momentum in. Across the face slide. Big putt. Another in. How?
Jeremy Hill. No, it's Pedersen.
Pedersen takes the mark.
That's a huge grab.
What a beautiful grab.
Gee, we're seeing some great...
Okay, do you want to check to see if it hit the post or not? Okay.
Checking to see if it hit the post.
We believe it's a mark. We just want to see whether it's hit the post. Okay? We believe it's a mark.
Yeah, I think if it did hit the post, he had...
Also, in the square or not?
He's not sure,
Outside.
Cam Pedersen, because he's looking up at the scoreboard as well.
Go back to review first.
He wants to have a look. Is it a clean mark? Well, I think he's grabbed it before it's hit the post, so that should be a clean grab, I would hope.
No, that's a mark. I thought it might have hit the post first, but his hands
doesn't
are on the
fumble
ball
it.
first.
He doesn't fumble it.
It bobbled, but it's a clear mark.
That's a good angle. Takes the mark, and then it hits the post. You got to pay that.
That's a beautiful grab, though, isn't it?
Heathy, don't forget the
Have a
angle,
look at
mate.
that.
Yeah, he's got to get him right round.
Joe Schultz will be disappointed.
He actually fumbles it after it comes off the post. That's a clean grab into the post, and then the post nearly knocks it out of his hands, and he half fumbles it on the way down. But you'd like to see that paid a mark.
Maintain possession of the ball, surely.
Mark.
Has to be.
Now, he's got to think his way through either out onto the left foot or kick the banana.
Well, I don't think he's going to get out in his left.
But those players have to be 5 metres away on the side, and at the moment they're not.
I'll just go the banana. Walk very close to the man on the mark, I would.
Wait.
The ex-room for his new club.
Well done.
Kicks the goal. He would have been given 50 regardless. His first goal as a Demon gives them 2 in a row. Sits it up for Westhoff, perhaps. Big fly top. Wingard tries to take the big one.
That would have been mark of the year if he took that.
Mackenzie hits wide. Campbell Heath gets there first. Looks up. What option does he want? Moore in the pocket. Andrew Moore thought about playing on. Still thinking about it.
Around. I'm through, Troy. Thank you.
Well, this has killed Melbourne all day, hasn't it? Off the back of all their hard work, getting yourself back in the game. They leak easy goals, and it just kills them.
Just saw Jack Watts there with his right shoulder after that marking situation there.
He's used to having someone stand on it, Spud.
Tough kick from the boundary. Melbourne with all the momentum right now. They didn't need that. Instant reply, Port Adelaide.
They just keep getting the goal support that Melbourne don't want. It was Lyndon Dunn about 10 minutes ago, kicked out from full back from the boundary line.
Have a look at this leap. On top of Jack Watt's head. Then he gets the second lift. It actually hit him in the head as well.
You can thank Tom Gillies just getting a fist on the ball there. Otherwise, it was just right in. Yeah, just got a fist on it.
And then Wingard wore it in the face.
And then Jack Watts has got a nice little lump on the back of the head, courtesy of the knee. But that was a great goal, great finish.
Lobe, Hartlett, little fumble. Hunted down by his old teammate David Roden. Westhoff lends a hand. They've got numbers again, Port Adelaide. Boak. Not a lot to go to forward. He's got Schultz in a one-on-one. Dunn's trying to run him down. There's no one ahead of Schultz. He could kick it long if he wants, or he's got Need short.
Look at Broadbent.
Oh, look at Broadbent in the square.
All on his own, Broadbent. It's in his direction. Bounce is all about whether he can get there or not in time. Centering kick. Monfries. Hard work pays off.
That's embarrassing from a Melbourne perspective. The number of free players that Port had going forward and how long they were there, and the number of Melbourne players that are 50 metres behind the ball that didn't work hard to get back. It's really coming apart for the D's today.
This kick for the biggest lead of the game. They led by 33 points in the opening half. This kick to punch it out to 37 for the first time today. It's not in the bank yet.
Oh, he's hurt himself. Bit of a cramp.
It's a long way back from here for the Demons.
Let's see the passage of play. Baz, Travis Boak, we haven't talked about him much. His first game as skipper. How have you found his game today?
Oh, it's been a great captain's game. He's had 13 possessions, 9 contested, so he's doing the hard stuff and showing great leadership. And arguably last year, that's what they were lacking. They were lacking some real solid leaders. He's really stepped up in round 1 today.
There's no doubting that. You got Hartlett, Kane Corns doing a really good job, and Travis Boak, the skipper's been terrific. Jarred as well, Jace.
Caught was Jones. Umpire said play on. Watts gives it back. Caught Seller. Did he get a toe on it? Obviously just need. Clever back step. Poke pass. Hoping for him. Finding Wines. He's a tough nut. Game 1. Again puts his body on the line. And again has a chance for goal 1 for his AFL career. But there's 2 stories here right now. One is the ball in the hands of Ollie Wines. The other, Mitch Clark coming off with a foot problem.
Yeah, well, I remember coaching Matthew Richardson when a lot of weight went onto his heel. He missed a lot of footy, and it looked something similar to that. The body weight of Trengo onto his heel.
For his first goal in AFL football, bittersweet pitches here at the G.
Magnificent goal there for Port and Wines in particular, but I think it was a Liz Frank injury, Dwayne, that kept him out last year, and it looks like a similar type of effort, as I said.
Look away if you're squeamish.
All the weight goes on the heel, the back of the heel, and the unfortunate part about it, the foot takes all the weight, not the ankle, Jay. So I reckon it's more the foot than the ankle, but
work ethic, no desperation, a lack of discipline, just not wanting to do the hard work, the hard yards needed to make it happen.
Corns to Schultz on the march and got it.
Perfect kick. Perfect kick. That's where you want it, Jace, as a forward.
Yep.
You're on full stride. You've got the defender bearing down on you, and you've kicked the ball to grass. Didn't have to break stride there, Jace Schultz. Perfect passage of play.
He had the opportunity there of the hold step, just to keep Frawley behind him to protect that last lunge toward the ball. It was perfection, that kick. Just needs the finish. Oh, this is becoming a horror story for Melbourne. 51 points the margin.
We haven't talked about Kane Corns much today, but he's playing on Nathan Jones. He's had the 20 disposals, Kane Corns. He's had 9 contested possessions. We know he's a tackling machine. He's leading the tackles on the ground with 8. But today, his ball use has been first class, and that's just the perfect kick because Jay Schultz at the last minute knows he's got Frawley beat. He jumps early, protects the ball, and more importantly, Schultz does the damage by kicking the goal.
Viney made it look okay. Got it to Jones. Falls, gives, Burns, shrugs, turnover. Corns, Wingard. Schultz is calling for it long. He's going to have to jump. Holds his ground. Good fist. Back into the congestion. Toe off the deck, Monfries. He's going to stroll in. This is a fairy tale start to 2013 for the Power.
Well, it was a great play from Jones in the middle, but then he rode into the numbers. You see Jones take the ball on. I'm thinking this is a good... He's standing up as a leader, but then there's no support around. The ball spills. There's 4 or 5 Port players. Then we see James Frawley here.
They got a 3-on-2, Melbourne, and they let the ball come out the back.
No, that's inexcusable. As a defender, the last thing you need is that ball to bobble out the back. You guard that ball with your life, not with your fingernails.
Gets it to ground, knocks it away from Gillies. Monfries again, Corns again. Sidestep, clever. Can you believe this? Where did this come from? Maybe from Ken Hinkley. First game as an AFL coach, and it's all going to plan.
Well, it's an embarrassment for Melbourne now. I mean, this third quarter alone, 16-5, or 15-6, I should say, the inside 50. But what gets me is when you see that ball go in, there are loose Port players everywhere. And that has to have you scratching your head if you're a Melbourne supporter or in the Melbourne coach's box. You're going, well, hang on a minute. Where are all the Melbourne opponents? Who's not working back? Who's not paying attention to their man? Who's not desperate? Who doesn't want it?
It's a good day, Monfries, in his first game as a Port Adelaide player as well. Out of the game after 3 goals. Broadbeck, good strong hands, and within range.
Westhoff
goes for the pass. Westhoff on the move, and the Hoff's got it.
Well, we know that we talk about Port manning the mark. Melbourne's manning the mark is just making it impossible for their defenders to spoil the ball, because you man the mark well around 70 out. You force the player to kick over your fingernails. There's some elevation on the ball, and that just gives your defenders no hope when the ball comes on with that ease.
Hasn't kicked a goal so far today, Justin Westhoff. 3 behinds. Got one now.
Well, the repercussions of today are going to be rather interesting. I mean, for Port Adelaide, it's onward and upward. It looks very rosy. The attitude of the players, the work rate. I think Ken Hinkley's obviously put them through a massive transformation in the off-season, the pre-season, throughout the NAB Cup, and now they've brought it into round 1. Conversely, for Melbourne, well, they've got a lot of soul-searching to do after 1 week of the premiership season.
Sylvia to Dunn. Dragged down, just gets a kick. Seller dives. Did that hit grass?
No.
Umpire says yes, that could be ball.
Hit the ground. No.
She cut him some slack there.
But that was interesting because the umpire wasn't sure. He didn't wave play on. He didn't do anything. He just looked at it, and I think that hit the ground.
And finally they get a goal. Geordie McKenzie.
Yeah, well, it did hit the ground. It was a very good decision from the umpire, and to kick a goal from a clearance. We saw Jack Viney kick one in the first quarter from a similar position.
Geordie McKenzie coming that goal.
Well, they didn't score one behind in the third quarter. We just have a look at the replay here. Seller claiming the mark, but definitely bobbled and hit the ground. As a player, you always try and dupe the umpire. You see the clearance here from Seller, really good tap.
She got away with the best push in the back you've ever seen.
Stolen back again. Little nudge in the back against Tapscott.
Look at the numbers.
Play on advantage. So the sub. Kane Mitchell scoops it up. Stevenson to Lobie.
There are loose Melbourne players everywhere in the middle of the ground, but none of them are picking up opponents. They're just running slowly. Wingard for goal. No, he squeezes the pass instead. Schultz.
Good all day.
Time to steady. It just keeps getting better and better and better this start to 2013 for Port Adelaide.
Jay Schultz, he's the go-to man. He's had a very good game. Started up the ground. He's had the 20 disposals, which is an amazing performance for a key forward. He's played up the ground a lot, but more importantly, he's had 4 shots at goal for 4 goals. And that's what you want. You know, there's been a lot of work. Their midfield have been on top, but their forward line today, the structure looks outstanding, and you're going to get a lot of opportunities with 55 injuries, but that's a great finish.
Port Adelaide's box, David King in there bringing you those pictures, and just to run through Heard the chant of power ringing around the MCG. Port Adelaide has built this one up. It is their one and only game at the G. They wanted to make a statement today. Wines on cue. Will he go for home? Unselfish. And this is a good story as well. Campbell Heath, 2 knee reconstructions whilst at the Swans. 2 games for the Swans. Good stories for Port Adelaide wherever you look. He's never kicked an AFL goal. This is his moment.
Another uncontested mark with no one on the screen.
Port Adelaide used pick 70 to get into the club from the Swans. And there's his first goal in AFL footy. It's a 79-point demolition.
17 marks inside your forward 50. You're not going to lose too many games of football like that. And again, we just see some terrific ball winning, and it starts at the coalface. First gamer, Ollie Wines just looks up, and there he has another player making a debut in Campbell Heath. That is a great finish. Great team performance.
Port fans that have made the trip have had an enjoyable day at the G. They would have hoped for this, but never in your wildest dreams would you have thought Port Adelaide would come to the G in round 1 and absolutely obliterate the home team Melbourne by 79 points. 19, 133 to 8-6, 54.
A magnificent performance, and there's the third eye there of David King and Alan Richardson, the senior assistant.